Now, it gets worse. And then it gets much worse.
We've created this environment where if you have any kind of disadvantage, regardless of what that disadvantage is, even if it's a big one or a little one, you will somehow get screwed over. Police in Tacoma, Washington are being criticized because of the fact that they tased a deaf crime victim. Now, this crime victim called 911 because she had a guest over at her house that was allegedly physically assaulting her. So when she called 911, she told police officers, and of course there was an interpreter who did that for her, that she is deaf. She cannot hear, so they need to alert her once the authorities do arrive so she can go to the front door and open the door and allow them to come in and handle the situation. Well, when she was alerted that authorities were there and authorities were told that she was a deaf victim in this case, she went to the front door, opened it, and the cops proceeded to tase her.
Now, the cops say, look, she came at us and she was waving her arms and we told her to stop and she didn't, so we, tased her. So now let's break down the problems with the cops' stories. First of all, there are people on the record saying that the cops were told several times before they arrived, she's deaf, she's deaf, she's deaf. Who cares? They tase anyway. Second of all, what's their first reaction? It's a deaf woman. Is she some sort of incredibly important threat to their, to their physical well-being? No, they just pull out the taser and tase without thinking twice about it.
There are two of them, okay? One of them is Ryan Koskovich, and the other one is Michael Young. And as you said, the first thing that they did was take out the tasers. They didn't want to calm her down. Maybe she was extremely worried and upset. Maybe she was waving her arms and they saw her as a bit of a threat. Who knows, right? But even if you do think that she poses a threat, you don't pull out the tasers first. Can't you subdue her physically?
And second of all, you haven't even ascertained if she's the victim or the person that you're going to subdue.
Exactly.
And then it gets much worse. So then the neighbors come out and tell the cops, hey, listen, she's the one who called it in. She's deaf and she, et cetera. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they had already gotten the call that she was deaf. So what do? They arrest her. Now, so why did they arrest her? Well, their police reports are nearly identical. When you show that to an expert on this, he says, yeah, these reports are CYA reports. You know what that means? Cover your ass. So they went back to the precinct and made sure that they had their story straight because they didn't want to get in trouble for tasing an innocent woman. So what did they do? They turned her into a non-innocent woman by arresting her. Now, it gets worse. She goes to jail. They won't give her an interpreter, even though, by the way, by law, they must give her an interpreter right away. They don't. They leave her in jail for 2.5 days. Why? Because she doesn't count. She's not relevant. She's just an average citizen. Deaf or otherwise, it doesn't matter. You think that if you're rich, you sit in jail for 2.5 days? After you were wrongfully tased? Oh, no, that's not how it goes down. Your lawyer is down there kicking ass and getting those cops in massive trouble. Now, if you're a regular person, sad day for you. You just sit in that jail for 2.5 days. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You were the one tased in the first place. You were the one who apparently made the mistake of calling the cops in the first place.
We've created this environment where if you have any kind of disadvantage, regardless of what that disadvantage is, even if it's a big one or a little one, you will somehow get screwed over.
Because if you're not rich and powerful, then you ain't shit. And that's the attitude that we have throughout the country. And they're pushing people, man. They're pushing them and they're pushing them and they're pushing them. So, it's just another American crushed. And that's how it goes.